Mike, thanks. And developing news right now. An investigation is underway today after an explosion along the shoreline at an apartment building early this morning. This happened on North Avenue in Bridgeport, and that's where we find Channel 3 New Haven Bureau Chief Matt McFarland with what he's learned. Matt?
Hi there, Carrie. You can see the apartment building behind me here on North Avenue. Investigators focusing on the third floor. Now, we're told police are speaking to someone whom Bridgeport's chief describes as a person of interest. As the state police and FBI bomb squad technicians, they are working to determine just what type of device this was. Now, here's what we know. Just before 12:30 this morning, Bridgeport firefighters and police were called to this apartment building on North Avenue. We're told smoke was coming from a third floor, and that inside that hallway is where first responders discovered the remains of a device and damage from an explosion that went off outside an apartment door. In total, we're told 150 people were evacuated from not just this apartment building, but surrounding apartment buildings and homes in the area, with Bridgeport Police, Connecticut State Police, and the FBI, which sent up its bomb technicians heading up the investigation. Again, we're told police are speaking with someone described as a person of interest, and the investigation is ongoing. Now, good news is no one was injured in this explosion, and everyone was allowed back into their homes. But again, police continue to investigate. Anyone with information is asked to call Bridgeport Police. We're live with the mobile newsroom in Bridgeport. Matt McFarland, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Thanks.